what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Turn the Hymmed Up. I'm your boy LP82 along with my co-host
Young Tick, aka Wordplay,
and of course
Cousin Dwaine, baby.
Where we gather every day or every other day, whenever we get together, where we talk about things that's going on in the world, especially in hip hop. And of course, there's a lot of things going on in the world today. So we're gonna have my boy, Cousin Dwaine. He's gonna get into it. So,
man, it's been a rough couple weeks, man, with all this stuff with George Floyd and with the Minneapolis Police Department, man. We've seen some things that's wild, man. So before we get started, I got an email last week about Vegas sending me a promotion to come out there to visit one of the casinos. So before we get to this deep stuff, man, I gotta ask y'all, where's y'all first spot y'all vacationing to once it's all the way open again in the economy?
I don't know. My anniversary's coming up, so we think about going to Louisiana. So I think that'd probably be the first place. We were gonna go to New York though, huh?
You got family out there?
Yeah, I got a sister out there, I got a cousin out there, I got a grandma out there, got another cousin out there, got an uncle out there, and then Texas is not too far away. I got a lot of family out there too.
That's dope.
But yeah, we're going to for other reasons. But you know, we might stop by, say hi.
They all seen us now, so they're expecting a drop by.
Love you, Tiff.
Mine is be San Diego. We going on a little boat cruise, so that'll be mine.
That's what's up, man. Definitely taking Vegas up on that offer, man.
Yes, sir.
Vegas is a spot. So let's get this started, man. Talking this George Floyd situation. First of all, with police brutality, do y'all think that this situation could have been prevented? What happened with him, and what ways? And let's look at it from both sides, if we can. What ways could it have been prevented, not only for the victim, which is George Floyd, but also law enforcement that took the man's life?
To me, it could have been prevented. Had the you see it for yourself. The police is putting his leg on his neck and all of that. He didn't have to do that. He could have followed all the right guidelines. If the man say he's not breathing, let off of him. You know what I'm saying? But he chose not to do that, and he knew exactly what he was doing, and it was foul. That he could have prevented that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, fuck 12. Not playing. Nah. Like Terrence said, just pretty much it could have been prevented. From what I heard, that wasn't even part of, police protocol. The move that he was using on the deceased, that wasn't even the right way to apprehend anybody suspected of anything, because allegedly it was over counterfeit money, and then they have the nerve to say that the man had coronavirus after that. Like that was another reason why. So at the end of the day, you could tell that wasn't a move that an officer should use on anybody, especially if he's an unarmed man and it's four of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what was the other cops doing while he was doing that?
Looking stupid.
Well, I don't know if you guys seen it today, earlier today on one of the officers that has been charged. His lawyer came on and said that he saw his body cam and seen that he tried to resuscitate him afterwards and stuff like that. We don't know because we haven't seen a body cam. Exactly. But as I started this question, I said, looking at it from both sides. But the reality of it is no matter how you slice it, that man should not have lost his life the way he did.
Exactly.
And that's a fact. So there's no other excuse behind that. But let's dig a little bit deeper for all three of us. We've all had, I'm sure, some type of encounter with law enforcement. What are y'all perspectives on police in general? Like, what not just police, but your perspectives on police brutality. Like, when you think of law enforcement and cops and first responders, what do you think of when you think of 12? When you think of one time?
Like I said, not to knock all police, because there are all people that work in the law enforcement, because there are some good cops out there.
Facts.
There are good ones out there that do strive to make a change, not only for racial purposes, but just for community in general. So there are good cops out there, but a lot of times when you deal with them, it's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, don't y'all got something better to do? And it's not to say that they just pull me over for random or or they do it all the time for just random shit. But for the situations that the police did pull people over, and you, like you said, you can kind of tell it was something else, So that shit crazy. It's right now we're seeing a drastic change in law enforcement. You seeing people completely quitting forces because they don't believe in what the badge stands for anymore. And I'm not to say that's a good thing, because we do need people out there protecting the community. I think that, like, I forgot who said it, but like, we need to start letting our kids know that it's good to become an officer. Like, stop saying, oh man, because as soon as somebody knows somebody's a cop, is either they think they're gonna get away with shit, or like, oh, you a cop, so you can write all my tickets off, or you think that saying they're gonna be like a snitch or whatever the case may be.
On the community,
yeah.
People.
Like, encourage your kids to be, and that's the problem, because we don't encourage that in the black community. We don't encourage kids to be law enforcement or lawyers or anything like that, because we have had situations in the past where they misuse their power and their force and all that type of stuff. But that's the problem, because we don't teach our kids to say, hey, you know what? I want you to be officer because I know you'll do the right thing for, the black community, or, even in the Hispanic community, all that type of stuff. So
what you think?
Well, to me, I mean, with officers, it's like, like LP said, they, there's some good, there's some bad, but you if you see the pattern, it's been going on for years. You know what I'm saying? It's been going on before
right.
I was born, before any of us was born. This was going on. Police brutality, and for it to be brought up and people standing out with their signs protesting, I think that's definitely what we need. You know what I'm saying? We definitely need that, and we need that push for something to change in the community, and just all around the world. That this is why Kaepernick was kneeling, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people just kind of brushed it off and swept it under the rug, because this been going on for years. But this is a serious topic, you know what I'm saying? This is something that, we have to really look at. There is officers that's bad, there's officers that's good. Some, not all of them are like that, but there is a lot of police that have hate in their heart, you know what I'm saying, and really don't want to see black men make it, or in, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of that, and for us to wake up and really see this is good. I'm glad that, people's not just sweeping it under the rug and it's just another black man dead. But also, I believe when you're saying Black Lives Matter, you have to realize that, we can't be killing each other, as black men, what I'm saying, killing other black men. We preach about Black Lives Matter, and we have to really stand behind that, you know what I'm saying? So, if you out protesting or putting up signs saying Black Lives Matter and all of that, you got to really look at the brother next to you and see that, you know what I'm saying? See that if he's killing another man, that's not helping the situation, you know what I'm saying? If a black man is killing another black man, it can't just be when police brutality, what I'm saying, happens that, we say Black Lives Matter. So I say all around, we have to really wake up and see that this is really a serious issue.
Definitely, and I gotta say, adding on to that, man, it's good to see countries all over the world, United States, people standing together in solidarity to voice their displeasure with law enforcement and racism in this country, and that's very encouraging to see that that it's not just black people that's on the front lines trying to do this, is everybody. So moving forward, man, we see the Attorney General William Barr, I believe his name is, he came out and said that he doesn't believe that there is any systemic racism in law enforcement. And we know that's not, we can go off our own opinion and say that's probably not true. There is clearly racism in law enforcement. Do you guys think that racism plays a factor in police brutality, or do you think it's more so a power thing, more of a wanting to have control over a situation, or do you think it's more color-based?
I think it's the two. I think it's actually both plays a part. I think it's some racism, because that's also been going on for years. You know what I'm saying? is for us to wake up and see it. That's what I like. I like the fact that we standing for something, and not just letting this happen. So, I feel like that play a part, and power. You know what I'm saying? Like for them to have the power to do it, they know they have the authority. So they use their power in a bad way. I think a lot of police do that. You know what I'm saying? Not all police, but there is some that do that. And, that's something that they need to be held accountable for if they do things like that. We just want justice, you know what I'm saying? So if you're doing something, if you murder a black man for no reason and you doing things like that, you need to be held accountable, period. So I think it is the two. I think it's, power and racism.
What do you think, LP, are some of the ways that law enforcement have, I guess, I know you mentioned earlier, not all law enforcement officers are bad, but what ways do you think maybe can help paint a different picture with them, especially with us as black men in the black community? What things do you think they can do that can help, I guess, make it a little bit better than what it's been over the past years?
Honestly, if they do anything drastic, it'll be considered fake. It was just because of what's going on. So I think that, like I said earlier, I think that the only way things are going to change and things are going to be seen to light is if we teach our children of what, our ethnic background to be police officers. Because another big issue is like there's a lot of it's a disconnect. It's a huge disconnect because, not to say I'm racist, but you have a lot of these officers, they don't even, like you say, somebody was telling me, like, a lot of officers nowadays don't even live in the communities that they're policing. So a lot of them live 30, 40 miles away. So, the problems of that community does not affect them because they know it's a job. They're going to clock out and go home. I think that a lot of people need to understand that, being an officer, teaching your children to want to take that on as a position in life. I know it's dangerous. I understand that. But if you don't have nobody that looks like you and doesn't understand the problems that you go through, we're going to continue to have this problem. So honestly, I think that it's a community thing. Us as a community, like I said, I'm not no protest. I'm not doing, all that. But from my perspective, I just think that as a community, we need to learn to police ourselves and learn to respect ourselves. If you see somebody going down the wrong path, stop them and give them that talk. That's how it was back in the day. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody held each other accountable. Hell, back then people used to whip each other kids, you know what I'm saying? But just to keep that for what it was, that was a threat to, quote unquote, the racist KKK and stuff like that, a community holding their own. That was a threat because we don't need them. We don't. We need people of our own background, our own color to understand the problems we go through.
Facts.
So that's just how I look at it.
What's your take on it?
I think one of the things that law enforcement can do, and LP alluded to this, was that it needs to be more presence in the communities you're serving. I think no different than when we start a job at a company, we go through training and you learn the ins and outs of the organization. I will hope most people get that experience. I know when I started college, we went through a whole orientation, seen the school, met certain people that were important to meet. I think that's the same thing that law enforcement officers need to do. You got to get out of the office, out of the precinct, go into the communities, engage with these people. Exactly. So we know you by first name. We see your face. You know us, that we're not only calling you when there's a domestic violence call, there's a shooting in the neighborhood, that you can come by here and actually, like, we see the videos from time to time where there's officers that'll drive by and then they'll play basketball with the kids. Like, we need more of that, because I think when you don't see something enough, it's always posed as a threat. Think about when we meet people for the first time. Some of us are socially awkward, or we don't like talking to people, so it can come off as, we're not personable or whatever. I think the same thing happens with law enforcement. The only time we really see them is when we getting pulled over, or somebody getting arrested. So how am I gonna act? Because it's on us too. Like, if we don't see something enough, we don't like it. That's just how it is sometimes with us. But also with law enforcement, they got to make it an effort. Just like, I don't know if y'all seen the LAPD, they're thinking about, or they have proposed to defund the police department to put towards more community initiatives with the black community for us. So I don't know how y'all feel about them, and I'll ask both of you guys your opinion on, for one, police being defunded a little bit, but also, what do you think about them doing more, like having more of a community, like we're a community review board of these things that police officers are doing? Because we notice when these police officers get arrested, they go to the court system, they get off with a slap on the wrist. But what if we made it so that the community, so to speak, in a restorative justice model, like we are the ones that kind of review like what's being done?
I think that's definitely needed. I think that whatever is going to help this situation, I just believe like what Jay-Z said, we're past kneeling, let's take action with this. You know what I'm saying? Something has to be done with this. Yeah, we can protest and all of that, but if nothing's being done with it, it's pointless. You know what I'm saying? Like something actually has to happen. If that right there will make a change in it, I say go for it. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's something we need. We also got to do our part as black men, to not resist arrest and do things like that when we get pulled over and have, something always foul to say to the police or whatever. You can prevent that too. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I think if we all put our effort in to, improve the community, improve this whole police brutality thing, and make it to where it's not, we can go about our lives not being so fearful of the police. When you black men scared to even get pulled over for by the police, and they probably got all they shit in order. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And still scared because they don't know what this
they can plan on you. Yeah. You can do all kind of stuff.
He tell you to reach for your driver's license. You reach for it. He kill you and say it was a gun. He was reaching for a gun or something. You know what I'm saying? So, I think we all need to do our part, but, like you said, for them to come together and as a community and try to make justice for it, I believe we should do that.
Facts.
I don't know, man. Some of these cops, bro, they pull over with the bullshit. Like, I ain't gonna lie. One time they took me out of the car. It was three of us, sat us down on the curb and started pinning gangs that was in the area on us. Like, yo, you're from so and so. So a lot of that shit though is like, in order to get respect, you gotta give respect. Like, god damn, like, bro, like I've never gangbanged one day in my life, nothing. And for you to sit up and say, "Oh, you're from so and so," oh well, wait a minute, and this has nothing to do with anything. Like, you're like even if I was like, I'm gonna just sit up and say, "Yeah, I'm from there." Like, so either way it goes, it's like that shit works both ways. Like, as a community, yeah, we do have to do things different. We do have to operate different. But fuck all that. Like, yo, don't pull me over and be asking me about something that got nothing to do with what you pull me over for. Yeah. Nothing at all. Nothing. Nada.
And I believe police do that too. They pull you over for absolutely. I remember one time I was just driving. I'm just driving normal, and the police is really following each lane I go in. You know what I'm saying? I'm just driving, ain't nothing going on. I'm just regular. He's going. If I go in one lane, he's going in that lane. He's just behind me, just messing with me. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm driving regular speed. He pulls up on the side of me because he see me. And he has a bullhorn saying slow down, and I'm not even going fast. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like things like that. It got to get better, man.
What the fuck? Like, that shit's crazy. Like, what the fuck?
And you think about the heightened level of your mind and where your body feeling when a cop is behind you. Like, I know for me, the encounters that I've had with law enforcement have always been like almost disheartening for me, because like LP said, and much of what you saying too, I don't gangbang. I've never been arrested, never been to jail, none of that stuff. So when I got questioned on that stuff, it did make me feel some type of way, because it's like, if I was white, would you have asked me these same questions? Like, I remember I had an officer ask me, he's like, "Oh, you live over there in a rough neighborhood. How are you driving this car?" like this nice car, this brand new car. Like, what do you like? Almost alluding like, what else do you do in order for this to happen? And the way that he was aggressive about it, like asking me, do I have any warrants and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, like, no. Yeah. But I think that's what we're talking about in this conversation is like law enforcement, they have a tough job. We know that. We know that all cops aren't bad. But they have to make sure that they are looking at the people that they're serving. Like, you cannot – even when you go through the McDonald's drive-thru, they got to interact with you to some degree before they give you the service. Same thing with law enforcement. You can't just be in the office all the time or out in the streets and then pulling up on people and expecting people not to feel – apprehensive when dealing with you. Like, we don't want to get in the back of – how many times have we seen in Black history of a man or a woman getting in the cop car and they die on the way to the precinct or die in the jail? Like, nah, we
and even stereotyping Black people, the stereotyping them in a way where they think all Black people are the same or all Black people do the same thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all different, you know what I'm saying? And we shouldn't be stereotyped by the the color of our skin, or things like that. We should all have equal rights and things should be, on that level. But like I said, this has been going on for years. So
yeah,
and something does need to change.
So thinking about what our viewers, of course, don't know, but we had a lot of riots and looting happening within the county. Of course, it happened all over the world in different parts, which was kind of why things had to get pushed up to this week. But I do want to talk about this, man, because we see this every time that this happens, that rioting starts, looting happens, these solidarity walks happen. What are y'all opinions? And we've seen Charlamagne had a very interesting take on it. Charlamagne the God said there's millions and millions of people that have filed for unemployment. What did you expect to happen? People are going to loot. Like, people don't have stuff right now. Like, they just don't have it. But there's no excuse. But I want to know y'all opinion on the looting part of this, animosity we feeling, this anger we feeling. How do y'all feel about it? Do y'all think it's okay? Do y'all think it makes a point? Do y'all think it's necessary? LP, I'll start with you.
It's funny because it's like, a part of you want to say, like, all right, I'm not gonna loot, but let some open that you want something from. Like, real shit. Like, let some open you've been dying to get, you ain't got the money.
I wonder where you would loot from. Like, if you were to be a
shit,
looter,
I don't fucking know, but shit. I'm just saying, like, everybody got a price. Everybody got something they want. Nigga, like, if them niggas was looting Mercedes-Benz dealerships, nigga gonna take a car. Nigga, like, I'm gonna drive off.
And
like,
they really did that too. People really looted a dealership.
Right, you're. It's like everybody's sitting at home saying they wouldn't do it. A lot of them probably just like, man, that ain't the store I would go to though. I wouldn't hit that one. But like, as far as
Family
looting,
Dollar, like
yo,
Family Dollar,
like no, real shit. Like, some people, like, I go say no name, told me what they took. That shit sound like the dumbest shit in the world that they took.
A pack of 35 water bottles?
Like somebody told me. Somebody told me one of their homeboys stole a pack of cigarettes and he was bragging about it.
This is your chance to shine, and you stole Marble Lights. Like,
a pack of cigarettes. They get like, yo, that didn't hurt them at all. Like, they was like that don't mean nothing. Nigga, you took something that's gonna kill you even faster. Yeah. Like, but outside of that though, as far as the looting goes, I can understand it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it was the best thing for them to do, but I can understand it. Like, fuck it. Some of them people were going to stores that they probably felt like, was probably robbing the community. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause there's some stores in the community that be robbing, like, be overpricing shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what
That's
the fuck?
A good point.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Point. And then, too, for the Black community, for the ones that, I'm not saying we're the only ones because there's other races out there. But for the Black community, shit, half of us, we live in a community where we don't own shit anyways. So it's like, the only thing I had a beef with, the only thing I had a beef with, and this is because of my mother, is the Walgreens and shit like that. Like, the medicine thing, like, I don't know how many times how convenient her CVS and stuff was by her house. if somebody would have destroyed that and just fucked it off like that, oh man, it would have been hell. So that's the only thing I had beef with. All the other shit like Flight Club and shit like that, like shit, nigga, like man, if I was there, I would have been going through that shit too. You know, shit. So for that, I don't care. But like pharmacies and stuff where people need that medical attention and stuff, that's the only thing I'm like, oh, come on, man. That's like, and people are ransacking that, looking for those expensive prescriptions and fucking probably like some fucking what's that shit for lean and all that type of shit. Niggas was looking for that shit. So that's the only thing I had a beef with. But other than that, loot on. Shit. That's up to y'all. That's y'all community. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, with me, I look at it like, you know, the looting. I see why they do it. You know, I see, you know, they're angry and everything like that. But looking from the outside in, I know I would say like I wouldn't do it, but I know if it was that opportunity for the run up itself, I probably would.
Oh
but,
yeah.
You know, but you know, looking from the outside in, just looking at the whole situation, it really don't make any sense because it's not gonna stop police brutality. I don't think, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's going. I think looting, you just running in there stealing shit, and you know what I'm saying? You stealing and you doing it for your own beneficial reasons.
Make it count.
It ain't got nothing to do with you know.
George
It has
Floyd
nothing to do
all.
with George Floyd and or nothing of that sort. You just taking on the opportunity to grab something because everybody's doing it. You know, so that's how I look at it from the outside in. You know, I don't agree with it. You know, but yeah, let me be up in there though. You know, let me be around it. I probably do something, but you know, but from the outside looking in, yeah.
It's like I can see a store that take on a break. Hey, look, let's get this one right here, over here.
No, I'm saying because that opportunity, you know, I'll tell you right now, I'm not gonna do it, but you know, you just never know if you have that opportunity.
You're not gonna go out your way.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go
out my way. I'm not going. Oh, the such and such is open. You know what I'm saying? Let me go run over there. I'm not gonna do none of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think the crazy part about it is that these are communities that we all live in. So unfortunately, we have to fix the damage in that we participated in. So it's like, man, we can't be living like that. Like, ultimately, people's families work in these communities. We work in these communities. That's the part I didn't like about the looting, was that I get the pain, I get the anger. We all frustrated. But at the end of the day, that flat screen TV ain't going to bring back George Floyd, man. That's not going to do it. So
and setting up the fires and all that.
Come on.
It's like these are spots you gotta eventually shop in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I mean, what did that really do? Did that feed any purpose or stop anything from happening? You know what I'm saying? All it did was give people a curfew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For the time being. So, you know, with that, I didn't agree with that.
You know what? I watched a couple of videos where people were like intentionally telling other people to engage in it. So here's my thing, right? So we know a lot of the areas that really got hit are very profitable and lucrative to certain people. Let's face it, like Fairfax. That whole thing is like filled with a bunch of stores and stuff like that. That could potentially be very lucrative to somebody else once the shit is burnt down. Yeah. Like, you know, like you got to think there's there's probably more. I'm not trying to be conspiracy theorist, but always remember, it's always something going on. Like it's always as in any disaster, there's always somebody's going to profit off of it.
Insurance policy on that thing.
Yeah, insurance policy. Some people, you got to think, some people burn their own shit down to get a check. Now, you know, say niggas did it for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's more to it than that. Like I said, there were people that were going around asking other people to do stuff that they wouldn't do. Like, hey, it was one video where a guy came up. He's like, hey, why don't you push over that truck? And the dude was like, what the fuck? Like what? I'm not about to throw this truck up. You know, like cops giving people bricks and shit.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Usually monkey see, monkey do. You got people see somebody else doing it, they go run over there and do it, then it becomes this big thing where everybody going crazy and doing all kinds of stuff. So that's how it pretty much start. You know, one person has the balls to go do it, you know, and then everybody else run along and do it. So
gotta have some level of thinking for yourself, people.
Yeah.
just going even deeper into this, man. So we're talking about the looting, we're talking about the rioting. Is this? We know your stance on it, that the looting is not going to necessarily change police brutality. It's going to keep happening. It might happen even more because they more pissed off now. But do y'all think that at this point we've seen it through the civil rights movement with Dr. King, we've seen it with the Black Lives Movement even now, and we've not seen a lot of change. So do y'all think at this point that we got to just fight fire with fire, or do you think we need to take the kind of like the old school approach that we know as kids growing up, which was the civil rights movement, of nonviolent approach to things, and kind of be a little bit more rational and talking it out? Or should we just tear some stuff up?
It's sad to say, but sometimes you have to ruffle a few feathers, for the job to get done. Mm-hmm. If speaking rational and trying to come at them with a peaceful approach, if that's not working and they sweeping it under the rug and things is not getting better, I feel like you definitely need to take another approach, something that's going to get their attention. I don't think you should do it with any malicious, malicious thoughts, but sometimes you have to take some type of approach to make things happen. You have to ruffle a few feathers and, get in their face more, and move sort of aggressively to get things done if it's not working the way it's supposed to. You see what I'm saying?
Facts.
So that's my take on
it. Burn this shit down. Oh, fuck it. Man, but it's like you said, we all heard the stories, we all heard the sit-ins and the marching and stuff like that. I think back then that wasn't even enough, in a sense. I'm not saying I'm all for the rioting. Like, I get it, I understand, but at the end of the day, like, the people, what else are they to do? Like, a lot of them don't even have the connections that people expect them to be, or expect them to just sit down with all these political leaders and stuff like that. You're dealing with the average common working man. Like, they're fed up. Like, what the fuck? Like, the jobs ain't paying enough. The COVID-19, like you said, a lot of people are off work. A lot of people are waiting on unemployment. A lot of people, like, this whole year is going to spawn so much type of, like, programs and class action lawsuits and all kinds of stuff. It's like,
gonna be the same.
It's never going to be the same. Like, even from this situation, like really, literally, there's probably cops rethinking their approach on how they deal with the people, like how they deal with their community. There's cops that's quitting the force just for the sheer fact that they don't believe in the badge like they once did. There's government officials that's probably going to step away from their position. Like, this shit is like no joke. Like, the COVID-19 was one thing. This is like a whole nother thing. The stores were literally shut down in fear of a riot. It was beyond that. Like, COVID-19 didn't even change their fucking hours. You know what I'm saying? They changed their hours a little bit. Hell, Walmart was closing at 4:00 in the afternoon, like, because they didn't want to get looted. You know what I'm saying? So I think, like, to be honest with you, now that I'm sitting here saying it, like, fuck that. I think that shit worked. Like, there's like a whole police department that stepped down. Like, yo.
And it's sad to say, but a lot of this looting and all of this stuff made a big impact to change the situation, to change the narrative of it, because you got all 4 police in the custody. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're doing their job now. You know what I'm saying? Which they should have just did it from the gate. You know what I'm saying? But it took all it is for them to wake up and get the picture. And some like I said, sometimes you have to ruffle a few feathers, and to for them to wake up and see. Sometimes you got to move aggressive.
Right.
Fuck that. Burn it down.
Man, it's so many opinions on that on both sides that it's just interesting, man. I was talking to 2 different law enforcement officers that I've become good friends with over the years, and they kind of was telling me that on their part they felt like, and I guess it depends on how you look at it. They were saying that on their part that they need to do better at training these young officers and even the ones that's in the force, because what they said was that it's like a brotherhood, it's like a gang for them, in the sense that they're always gonna have each other's back, and if the lead person is telling you like, oh, sit on his neck or hold him down, like the lead lieutenant on the scene, you're gonna follow those orders, and it's a brotherhood at the same time. You're not gonna let your mans get disrespected, so they're no different than, like a gang. So what he was saying was that that they need to do a better job of training them, and then he said on the other part, the officers that were involved in George Floyd's death, or any officers that's on the scene that see another officer doing any type of misconduct, they need to be bold enough to speak out about it and shut it down.
Exactly.
That should be the main course when you're training for police.
Right.
That should be one of the main things they put in to implicate. Is to make sure you stand up for something if you see something foul, because it seemed like they skim over that, and it's police doing it all around the world. You know what I'm saying? So, I definitely agree with that, though.
I want to take y'all to the scene, to the place real quick. Let's put ourselves in that moment when we see George Floyd down with that officer's knee in his neck, and they're pinning him down. The reason why I want to bring this up is because I seen someone post on social media. They said, man, if I was there at that scene, it would have been 2 people dead that day. I wouldn't have been sitting there holding that phone. I would have jumped in and intervened. So I want to put all 3 of us right there in that situation. Given the scenario, LP, I'll start with you. What
do we know the outcome?
We don't know the outcome. We just see that he is saying, I can't breathe. He's calling for his mama. He can't breathe. You clearly can see that his neck is being pressured. What are you thinking? What are you doing in that scenario? What would you have done?
To be honest with you, I don't think none of us have the answer for that shit. Because even if I sit up and say, yeah, I will stop it, but realistically, think about it. Nigga, you'll probably be arrested too, you know what I'm saying? Or if I don't say nothing, then I'm considered, you let a black man die in front of your face. So it's shit. Those are one of the type of situations I really think that you have to be there. There's no right or wrong answer for that one. So it's kind of now if it was, how can I say this? If I was there personally, I wouldn't know what I would do. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. Because I'll be lying if I said, oh, yeah, nigga, I went over there to start fucking everybody up. Them niggas would have shot me, straight up. Like you said, it would have been 2 of us dead.
Yeah. And there's a very valid reason why I'm asking you guys this question, and I'll mention that afterwards. But what would you have done in that situation?
I kind of agree with LP in a way where it's you kind of, you're gonna lose any way you go. If you go do something to the police, you're gonna get served the consequences behind it. And if you let it ride, you watching a black man, pass away right in front of you. So no matter what, that's a tricky situation. But for me, sometimes I react off impulse. You know what I'm saying? And I could just snap, and who's to say? I wouldn't say I would do that, but I never know myself. Sometimes I could react off impulse and just do stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I might have just went over there, pushed them off, or did something. I don't know what I would have did. But sometimes people could react off impulse and do something, because they see something that's not right.
Facts.
And I'm one of those people that have the that could happen. I could react off impulse, especially if I see something that's not right. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I have to say something or do something, so you can get the attention.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked that question is because I mentioned this earlier, was one of the officers that were involved. His lawyer was on TV today saying that the civilians that were there could have intervened. That was one of his excuses, his justifications as to how this situation could have been prevented.
But see, it could have been that situation where they thinking about it if I do step in, what is going to happen?
But here's my thing, right? This is another officer, nigga. You got more authority in that situation than we do.
I think
why you didn't step in, nigga? What the fuck?
I think if anything, the police that was around him
Yeah,
should have intervened and at least been like, man, come on, man, get off his neck. You know what I'm saying?
that shit was that shit was a weak ass reply.
Like you have to do something with that, especially being a police officer and you seeing something that's not right. You know, you're supposed to intervene and say something about it, not just you see it's not right and just, you know, acting like you just looking the other way like nothing's going on. You know, that wasn't right. You know, forget the civilians, you know what I'm saying? The civilians, of course, they not going to react, especially you got 4 or 5 police officers that can pin you right to the ground as soon as you do something. You
that was a punk ass response. Like, what the fuck? Oh, they could have did something too.
Might want to change your argument. I hope that before you get ready for this case, man, you might want to change that because that was a terrible excuse to use. So, if we're looking at George Floyd, how we're celebrating his life, man. I don't care what anybody says about his past, whatever. It has nothing to do with the fact that this man died the way he did. No one deserves to die like that. If that was a white man and it was a black cop, I don't know what the type of response would have been, but it would have been bad. I would hope we would all have an uproar for either race of situation if that happened. So let's look at perception too. Let's look at perception. What do y'all think the perceptions are that people have of black men and black people in general that live in low-income communities or maybe not live in low-income communities, just in general? What do y'all think the perceptions are of us?
We thugs. We, you know, in some people's eyes, they really think we nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just another nigga off the street. You know what I'm saying? Another, you know, the nigga that's going to end up in jail or dead, you know, and see us all like that. There's some people that really have that perception of us like we're all the same. If we grew up in a community like that, you know what I'm saying? And which is not the case. Not everybody's like that, but we do get stereotyped like that often. You know what I'm saying? Like just walking into a store, you know what I'm saying? You know, people looking at you. It could be somebody with another race, somebody on another race, the one actually stealing.
Yeah. Power down right now. Well, shit. No, just keep recording. Fuck it.
Yeah. So yeah, what I was saying was So we walk in a store, you know what I'm saying, and that could, you know, people looking at us, black men, like we gonna steal something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not always the case like that.
I'm stealing.
You know what I'm saying? But we got that stereotype. You know, like we gonna always do something wrong. You know, you got I seen a white lady called the police at a park or something. Y'all seen that?
Yeah, Karen.
And said that talked to the police, said that the black man was threatening her and all
it's
that.
Like, oh my
you know
God, he's hurt. He's not nowhere near you.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, because she think the reason why she did that is because she think that, you know, they gonna take her side anyway.
Facts.
You know, which is in some cases
that's sad,
true.
Man. That's sad. LP, what do you think the perceptions are of black
shit
people?
Right now? Them niggas is treating us like kings. Them niggas is scared. They're treating us real good, you know.
So many white people waving me.
Yeah. What's going on, neighbor? But to be honest with you, of course, they think all the negative shit. But the one thing they think about us is that I know in the back of their mind, if they ever get a chance to get any type of power, we're gonna run this motherfucker. So they try to do anything to prevent us from getting it. Anything, if that's whatever, they'll try to do anything. It's like it's even to the point to where is. Like you move in a community and you're the only black family there. They want to alienate you and make you feel like for sure, you're the only black family here, and they like even having friends that's from other races and stuff like that, and they pull that, oh well, you know, how do black people, or they give you that whole little like, oh you're a cool black person and all that type of shit, because they know. They know in the back of their mind, let us get the opportunities y'all have. We'll fucking run this motherfucker. By nature, for like a man like Jay-Z, for Jay-Z to make it where he is now.
Yeah, from where he came from.
From where he came from to where he is now, nigga, that's strength. That's power. Yeah. Like all this other shit, man, motherfuckers is privileged, giving privileges and shit like that.
You gotta really know how to play the game.
Exactly. Like Jay-Z took that shit by the balls and went to the top. Like, man, that nigga is powerful as fuck. Now imagine if he had shit, even Kanye. Imagine if he had the white privilege that white people get with that hustle, with that mentality.
That talent.
That nigga would have been Jeff Bezos, nigga. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's a fact.
So, shit, at the end of the day.
We definitely have it harder on us than any other race, I believe. You know, just growing up and living. You know what I'm saying? I think we have we're looked at different. You know, we got to go through harder things than any other race, and you know, it's sad to say, but slavery has never left. You know what I'm saying? Even since slavery days, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like racism. I mean,
I was like, damn, nigga, I've been in the cotton, nigga, feel at all.
I'm out now.
I'm sorry, not slavery, but racism. Racism hasn't changed, you know, since slavery days. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just in a whole different form. You know what I'm saying? And they disguise it a lot more. You know what I'm saying? But you know,
corporate America.
In certain situations, you see it. It's brought to life and it's transparent. You know what I'm saying? But that's definitely still going on today.
Like you said, you go in these other communities and you see racism. We just don't see it because we're not in those other communities as often.
Yeah.
It's definitely
but that shit is there. They may not be saying nigga over this and that, but you go to all these rich neighborhoods with full of white people. That's racism right there because they going to make sure they stay rich and white. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel sorry for the people that's not racist. You know what I'm saying? And in a racist community. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to be looked at. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome to what it feels like to
you
be
gotta
black.
actually stand out and let them know you're not racist. You know, even with the cop situation, with this whole George Floyd situation, I feel sorry for the cops that's actually really trying to do their job the right way, and they have to stand front.
But that's what we go do, though, too. That's what you were saying earlier. It bothers me because I do see, like, the gang dudes that's out there, and we all know some, and then I got to get treated. I don't do none of that stuff, but your actions make it harder for me.
Exactly.
Same thing with those white people that aren't racist. They probably looking at these cops that is killing people that's white, and they saying, your actions is now making it harder because I'm not a racist. I didn't grow up like that, so... Yeah. One of the people that I just recently heard of that someone that had gave me his video to watch is this guy named Coleman Hughes, and he's like a writer and opinion columnist, and he has some very like different type of views on racism and race, and he says that people like Democrats, like people on the left, I don't, you know, they tend to look at black people and kind of and people of color in general, and then account like your race is a part of how the public views your intellectual and moral abilities. Like because you're black, sometimes like they look at it like, oh, like this, you know, they might not be this intelligent or this more intelligent or less intelligent or whatever. And he was saying that that's not, we shouldn't think like that. Of course, we know that, but he says that there are some people on the left that do think like that. So when you made the point about racism, he said something that I really thought was crazy, but you got to really think about it. Like, to be fair, he said that we still look at like slavery and stuff like that now, like it's still happening. Like we ain't like we got to get over it almost. Like think about what's happening currently now. Yeah. How do y'all feel about that? The stance of what he was saying, that we look at history, like black history, like slavery and stuff like that, religiously, almost like how we do in the church. Like
we never let it go.
We just never let it go. Like he's pretty much saying, at some point you gotta move past it. Like what are we doing now?
I mean, we definitely gotta let that go. That was the past, but in some ways, it's still going on. It's just like I said, it's in a different form. So, I think what they were saying is, I think the reason why they keep carrying it on is because they still see it.
It's still impact. The damage has been done in different systems.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it might be in a courthouse. It might be in all of these different places, you know. And some people might not even have to go through that their whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like, may not have experienced no racism, so they're not going to be affected like somebody that has been in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I heard Lil Wayne said he has never had an encounter with racism. You know what I'm saying? So it's not going to affect him like somebody that has. Just like if you haven't been beat up by the police, some people may not have been affected by it, so they don't look at the situation like somebody that has been beat up by the police.
Real talk.
They're gonna have more of a hatred towards the police than somebody that's never dealt with that situation.
Yep, that's a very valid point, man. That's a very valid point. Shoot, LP, you got anything else you want to add on to that last tidbit?
Slavery shit. It's one of those type of things, like you said. Motherfuckers had the opportunity. Black community, we had the opportunity to take everything that we wanted and hold it and grow and be what we wanted to be. We didn't do it. Like, I'll put it to you like this, prime example. How many people knew a grandmother that owned their house, right? How many parents owned their house? That alone is a big fucking difference, because, like you said, our grandparents and great grandparents, they went through that shit more than we ever could go through it. And we still talking about the same shit. And it's not. And nowadays, there's certain banks and shit that we can go to. Back in the day, these black community, they didn't have black owned banks.
Nope.
They got a gang of black owned banks now. You got places where you can go. It's just that you choose not to. You choose not to educate yourself. We choose not to experience different. We choose not to fight for our rights until something bad happens. That shouldn't be just because all this happened. That should be an everyday thing. What's the first thing your parent tell you? You better stand up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait till the shit hit the fan. Now all of a sudden we want to be like, oh, this and that. Like, fuck all that. That shit should have been put in place. Like, racism, that shit don't, like, I've experienced racism, but I already know what the real reason is. Y'all scared. Y'all scared of us. That's just what it is. So when I see people act a certain kind of way or act moody, I laugh at them. Grab your purse. Like, and it's so sad to think that you think that I want something out of your purse. I might have more money than you. Yeah. Like, I might be, if I went through your purse, I'd be like $20 in there. I'm walking with $300 in my pocket. Yeah. Like, I don't give a fuck about none of that. Like, all that shit to me is like.
What do y'all think about the whole stigma of like going out and voting and having a different president because of all this stuff been going on in 2020? Do you think that has a effect on what president we have and all of these different things, or you think that's just something completely different?
I honestly don't. I firmly believe that we should all go out and vote. That's important. It's imperative. Our ancestors and forefathers did not fight for us to. That's a right that you need to do. Like, just go do that. Like that without saying. But I don't think that whatever president we put in there, the fact is the president is not going to change the issue.
He's a figurehead.
He's literally just a person that's there. Like, we have an issue in systems, in the judicial system, the justice system, law enforcement. We got it in education. Every type of systemic racism you can think of, we're plagued by it. Black people have been continuous. That ain't got nothing to do with the president, because the president can throw out as many dollars as he want, initiatives as he want. But if I got this officer that's still racist, that's still corrupt, that's running a whole unit, it's not going to change anything. But we do, people, please go out and vote, man. I hate when people say, "Oh, I'm not. Man, I ain't voting. It ain't gonna change nothing."
You know what it is? You know what it is? They let Donald Trump fool them.
Finesse.
They let Donald Trump fool y'all. Donald Trump ain't got no fucking pull like that. All he can do is suggest something. That shit still got to get approved by everybody. Yeah, he can make a little move. I'm not saying he's completely powerless, but all that shit he be tweeting and shit, that shit ain't got no effect on the country.
He just be saying stuff.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
How do y'all feel about? Because he's retarded to me. I'm sorry, but
he's funny though. He's funny.
But how do you feel about people saying he's done more for black people than any other president?
All presidents say that shit when it matters.
That's a boast. They said that when Abraham Lincoln was president. Oh, he freed the slaves. He emancipated. Man, that's like me saying that I can't even make up something that I would say. Matter of fact, now I think about it. But now when he say that, you notice it came from him. Yeah, like, he just said it like somebody wrote up an op-ed about him, like, yeah, man, you've been out here doing your thing for blacks. And he just took that and ran with that quote. But no, he says this stuff because he's narcissistic, of course. Yeah. But no, he hasn't done anything. Like, I remember when I was younger, a lot of black people resonated with Bill Clinton. And they were like, oh, he was the first black president, quote unquote. But when you really look at it, Bill Clinton put in a law that literally messed up so many black men's lives. It ain't even funny. But we still think because he played the saxophone on stage that he's like one of the dopest presidents.
Getting his dick sucking.
Man, and that was
had a little side chick.
Yeah, that was like, oh
that's
yeah, I see you. I see what you're doing. But no, I don't think Trump has done a lot for black people. What I think he has done for black people and people of color is that he's opened up the wounds that we've had in this country where we can now see racism is still very blatant and it's still very real. He's empowered those people that are racist to come out of the woodworks so we know you ain't hiding no more. That's what he has done for us.
It seemed like both presidents, Biden and Donald Trump, is really trying to get the black vote.
Did y'all see what Biden said when he was like,
if you're not black,
if you voting Trump, you're not black. Like, what? Why? Who gave you the license to say something so stupid?
But you know what it is though, because and this happens all the time. They know that black people's persuade culture. We create culture. We cultivate it. We make it grow. We make it popping. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's two votes they're really concerned about: the Hispanic community. Well, there's probably three now: the Hispanic community, the LGBT community, and the black community. Because they already know they pretty much got a science to what. Sad to say, what the white community is going to choose. It's pretty much a science. But as far as black culture, they feel like if we get the black vote, we're going to get the more popular vote. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get the people. And that, to be honest with you, that's what Hillary Clinton was running off of. The black vote. She needed the black vote because there are so many platforms where black people televise, what have you, whatever. And whereas Hispanic culture, they got theirs too. So it's a good thing, good look to get those votes. If you get the LGBT community, I'm sorry, I keep on fucking up. Apologize.
LGBTQ plus.
Yeah, plus community. You get the Hispanic community, and you get the black community. You're gonna win.
That's all you need.
You're gonna win. Even though, and it's sad to say, a lot of black people don't even vote.
That bothers me.
But if you get the right celebrity to back you, to stand behind you, black celebrity, like when Kanye West endorsed, even though they said something that was a little different, when Kanye West was endorsing, standing behind Donald Trump, regardless of what it was front page news.
It was empowering.
It was like, what the fuck? Empowering. There was people that came out of the woodworks like, oh yeah, I fuck with Donald Trump too.
But do you think with all of this going on that black people's gonna get out and vote more, or you think it's still gonna be the same?
Man, if I will say this, if this don't change it, if this don't get you out your bed to go vote, man, I don't want to hear nothing else. Like this is literally one of them issues that you see worldwide. People are responding. So it's almost like all eyes is on us now as black folks. Like, y'all gonna go out and vote or what?
Not only vote, but know what the fuck you're voting for. Yeah, exactly. Educate yourself.
Look into their policies.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What do they stand for? Don't just vote because of their name. Like, they might be implementing stuff that raise your rent. Like, you don't even.
Real shit.
Do you feel like a lot of people did that with Obama?
Man, I didn't even know what Obama. I didn't know nothing about Obama before. I'm not even gonna lie. I was at Iowa.
I did it because he was black.
I was at Iowa, and I was at the whitest college at that time, and I came back and voted. I was like, yeah, I voted for Obama. They was sick because they was like, oh man, he about to have everybody rocking FUBU and KFC endorsement. It felt like the Dave Chappelle episode with
reparation.
Yeah, I know for a fact that when Obama was on, we didn't care. We was like, he's black, we're voting for him.
And that's the sad thing. Us as black people, we only vote for face value. We vote for the most surface bullshit. Like it's sad. Like we'll really say we won't vote for a person just because we just don't like him.
I think Obama did good for what he could do, though. I mean, you can't change the world in that amount of time that you was president. You're not gonna do a little bit more.
He didn't really.
But and that's the sad part about it though, because really, to be honest with you, at the end of the day, they're all figureheads. They really don't have say so like that. They still got to go through steps and shit to get shit done. He can pass us all the shit he can say all the shit he won't, but if people ain't backing him, they ain't backing him.
Yeah, I think we had a different level of expectation because it was a black president. So I think in our head, we thought we was about to all get Lambos and mansions and stuff for all the
get those reparations, 40 acres and a mule.
We got to regulate our expectations. But that's it, fellas. I ain't got nothing else for y'all, man. Y'all ain't got me.
All right, for sure. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening to our point of views on this tragic situation and this uplifting after the tragic situation as far as the community sticking together, black, white, even the Hispanic, everybody sticking together and showing that it's strength in numbers. So I would like to thank everybody that's tuning in and watching. We're up to like 319 subscribers. So even though it's not a whole lot, but it's something, something.
We doing something
So
out
that
here.
means subscribe.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. Man. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm your boy LP82.
Young Tech, a.k.a. Wordplay.
And
Cousin Dwaine, baby.
And we're out.